Hey guys, welcome back. It's Maggie. So I already recorded this video, but I was so tired in it, and I was legitimately filming it and then he cheated on me. I was not. I wasn't there, I guess. So I decided to refilm it. This story is about an ex of mine. And it wasn't a great relationship. It was pretty toxic, let's say. But first, before we start, I would like to say both of us as people have grown a lot. And although I'll probably never trust him or forgive him for these events, I still am not completely hateful towards him, because I know that if I'm a completely different person now, and I'm guessing he probably is too. But you never know what happens when you're stuck. So yeah, but he's apologized for this wholeheartedly. So yeah, don't go and find him or anything, because he doesn't deserve that. And when I was working at my camp back in BC, and I was there for my friend's baptism. I know that sounds really cringy, but it's not in my world. I love it. It's a really amazing day to go to. And so while I was there, I was hanging out with my friend. We're all staff of the camp, and we're just talking, and then this guy and his friends from the semester before us, because half of summer is for some staff and the other half is for other staff, but guys from the one before us came over and started talking to us, and one of them, right away, he's really charming, and right away I'm kind of blushing, oh, he's pretty good looking. He was brown hair, blue eyes, taller than me. I'm a short person though, so I don't understand society's thought of tall, really. But yeah, so all through the night he's kind of talking to us, and then at one point I remember him waving like this and smiling across the row from us. And so I obviously got his number, and so we were just talking in September now, and finally we decided to go to this fall fair. Not September, August, I think. I don't know, it's either the beginning of September or the end of August. But he invited me to come with him to this fall fair as a date. And I was like, well, I'd never really been on an actual date before, really? So I was like, okay, I guess. I didn't really know what to do, so yeah. I went on this date with him, and the whole time he's really sweet, he's and then we finally decided to go up to these bleachers that were there for this horse show, not show, barrel racing and then pulling carts. I don't know what you call it. Owie! You could have broken my arm! Up there we went and sat in the very top corner, and there was no one there yet, because there wasn't anything going on for that yet. And so while we're there, he starts getting very handsy right away, hand on my leg, trying to kiss me, kissing me. And I just hated that situation, because I was backed into a corner, and I just felt so helpless, because I wanted the date to go well. He was pretty nice looking, and he was really nice, and as a person. But finally I got up, and I'm let's go into the fair and go on a ride or something. And so we're leaving, and someone from school actually saw us, so that was a little worrying. So I was a little bit anxious about that the whole time. And then I remember finally we're about to go on the Ferris wheel. I don't think we did. We might have. I can't remember if we actually went on or not, but he got a phone call saying that he had to go, basically something's going on. And so he drives me home and just leaves me off like a gentleman. It was we should do this again sometime. And of course I'm of course, there's no red flags here. And so I continued talking to him for a while, and I remember this is the thing that really turned me off, so I stopped talking to him for a while. But I'm talking to him, and he asks me this question, and he goes, "Have you ever sexted before?" And I was like, "No, he's like basically like, well, it's your lucky day. Let's start a sext. And I'm like, no. Like I straight out was like, no. And so after that, I just kind of stopped talking to him, kind of ghosted him. I was so turned off by that because I was just like, buddy, really? Like, we met at a Christian camp. So I was like, and so I was still in love with this guy from another video, which I will put in the description. And at this time, it was around January, February, and I was just feeling really heartbroken about this guy. And so I start texting this guy again. I'm gonna call him Trevor. And I'm talking to Trevor, and we're just really connecting, you know. Like, I started thinking, you know what, this guy's pretty cool. Like, he didn't ask me to sext again, really. And so finally, well, I like to skip school a lot then because I hated school. I hated being there. I was always stressed out there. I didn't like the school. It was a bad school. And so I was like just talking to him and telling him how bad of a day I was having because 15-year-old me had a horrible life. And so he lives in another city, by the way, and he drives from his other city to my city and picks me up out of school to just go and hang out. And I remember we went and walked on the wharf, and then there's a bird sanctuary with like basically just a walkway or a bikeway. And then we sit down on this bench, and he's getting really, really handsy again, and no one's around. Like, why would I go where in an unpopulated area with this guy that I kind of know? Like, I was really stupid. And so he's getting super handsy, and I'm just like, no. And then we end up making out because it's just random. Like, I'm like, what is happening? And by the way, making out, my dad's probably gonna watch this, and he normally thinks making out means the deed. No, making out in my mind just means like kissing a lot, and he's like kind of like this, like whatever. Like, it shouldn't. I just didn't like it. I just didn't want any of it. But again, I kept thinking, hey, he's really nice. He's been good to you. He took you away from school and took you on this romantic walk. And maybe it's just nothing, and we're probably gonna get through it. It's just a phase. It wasn't just a phase. We ended up dating for a couple months, and then it was either March or May, and I went out to house sit my sister's house in another province. And while I was there, he stopped talking to me, and I was so confused. And then finally, I messaged him. I had been messaging him, and he just wasn't answering. And I was finally just like, hey, I'm kind of concerned. Where are you? And I'm just like, are you okay? And then finally, he comes back and admits to me that he was feeling guilty because he was on the phone with a girl the other day, and they talked in ways he should only talk to in a relationship. So I was just like, I personally count that as cheating. I don't know if you would, but I do. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, so I'm that meaningless to you. Great. So I broke up with him, and I didn't stop talking to him though because I was so in love with him. Honestly, yeah, I was, but like still. And so finally comes around June, around this time, when my birthday was happening. And so we make plans to go to the drive-in theater with him, me, my best friend, and a couple of his best friends would come along. And so he brought this truck where you could just lay it out and you could just lay in the back and watch a drive-in movie. And we stayed for 2, and honestly, for a second, I felt complete peace and calm watching the stars, hearing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 on the frickin' big screen. It was just so amazing, and it was a really nice moment. I'm about to get really mad. And so I'm laying there, I'm on his arm, my head's on his arm, kind of like in a cuddling position. But so was my best friend, but I didn't care because we weren't dating, but we were still a thing. But I don't know, I just didn't really care. Until finally, I decided to look at him and my best friend because it was so amazing to be with both of them in the same place, both my favorite loved ones, together in this moment with me. I look up at his face because I just wanted to see him. And I swear, he never admitted to it, so I feel like I'm crazy, but I'm probably not. I swear, I watched him kiss my best friend, and right when I'm on him, like next to him, like I'm like, who does that? Like, like I was laying there and I shot up, like I sat up so fast, and I just sat there, and I was shaking in anger, and I bet he thought that I was having an anxiety attack or something. He did not notice that I saw this, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just sitting there shaking, and I'm feeling like grabbing his throat and just, I'm in therapy, don't worry. And he goes and he sits up and he puts his hand on my back and starts rubbing my back. And then he says, "Are you okay?" And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what? Like, I was fuming and I was so heartbroken. And I was like thinking like, get your hand off my back, get your hand off my back. And I just, But that night was nice up until that point. I never mentioned it because I'm that stupid. And then we're on the truck ride home, I guess. And I'm sitting there and he puts his hand out like this, like on his lap, like not his lap, but next to him, like by mine. As if like saying, hold my hand. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, nope, I'm not holding your hand. Like in my head I'm saying this. And then finally I caved because I was like, he's still a really good guy. We can get past this. And death. So I held his hand on the way home, and I like completely forgot about it, and I was like, let's just leave it in the past. It's okay. I'm like almost crying, but they're not tears of sorrow, and I'm angry. Okay, and so we keep hanging out. And one day we had to go to his house. Wait, nope. Rewind. I was having a conversation with him one day, and he had been having this really weird mood swings, kind of with anger and like all this stuff, and I was like, hey, like, what's going on? And so I'm waiting for his reply, and then he tells me, you can't tell anybody, but I'm a werewolf. And I'm like, what? And then he starts explaining all this stuff to me of how, like, he gives me proof of like stories and stuff, I guess, and I'm like, like in my head, because I'm really open to mythical like things, like, because I think these stories come from something, and so I feel like there's more to the world than what we normally see. Like, I feel like any of this could exist, so you never know. So I was kind of open-minded about it, but at the same time I was like, are you crazy? Like, I was like, there's no way. And so I was like, I just brushed it off because I was like, you know what, maybe he's trying to make himself look attractive to me. Like Jacob from Twilight, maybe, I don't and so finally we're back going to his house, something with his dog. We were gonna bring it to like a dog sitter or something. And well, when we got to his house, before we had left, my mom had told me, do not go into his house. Do not go into his house. Don't go into his house. We know boys. We know their minds. Don't go into their house. And then I was thinking, like, no, mommy's not like that. And so I go into his house. And straight away, he picks me up, carries me up the stairs, lays me on the couch, and starts making out with me, like touching me everywhere. And I'm like, I'm literally laying there like this. My arms are down below. I'm not doing anything apart from maybe kissing back a little bit because I didn't want things to be awkward. Like, uncomfortable and I was not liking it. And then finally I thought, well, I'm getting up because this is too much. I don't want this yet. This isn't me. So I'm about to get up. And he growls at me and yanks me down back under him. But his, like, when I say growl, it wasn't like a dog growl or like human throat clear. It was like an inhuman demonic growl. And in that moment, I was like, first of all, when he pulled me down, he bruised me. And I was like terrified for my life because I was like, is he a werewolf? Is he demon possessed? Or is he just a creep? Or is he just hormones? Is he just lustful? Like, I was like, what is happening? And I honestly, for that moment, when I realized that I couldn't get up, I really thought that he was gonna go through with what looked like was gonna happen. And I was terrified. And I remember turning and just looking ahead off the couch, and I remember feeling as if I was leaving my body, and I was thinking, this is it. This is where the worst moment of my life is gonna be. This is where everything is gonna be ruined, where, like, I was so scared. I just thought it'd be the end of me, basically. And then finally, he gets up, and he's sitting there at the edge of the couch, and then he starts hitting his leg, like, stop it, stop it. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Like, I was trembling, by the way. I was terrified, but I didn't say anything because when I'm scared, I tend to just zip it. I can only let out a few words, like I freeze, basically. And so finally I get up and I sit next to his dog on the floor and start petting it. And then he comes and sits next to me, and then finally we take the dog and we leave and drop it off. But the whole time, he kisses me at stoplights as if, like, and he treats me like his normal girlfriend, like everything's okay. Like, that didn't just happen. He growled at me, like, you can't just brush that off. Like, I was mind blown. Like, how do you? And anywho, that really, honestly, truly scarred me, and I'm trying to make light of it. But, because of that, I ended up moving here to Nova Scotia. That's not the only reason, but that was the reason that kind of pushed me over the edge. And so, while I was here, I was feeling really lonely. When I first moved in, and when I first got here and was living in an RV, I had no friends until I met Keisha. But before that, I really needed someone, and apart from YouTube, I really had no one. And then I just, I unblocked him, and I texted him. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry for the way I acted. I overreacted. Can you forgive me? Can we start talking again? And so we do. And then we sort of become a long distance thing, but I was also kind of a secret to everyone else at this point because everyone knew that we were broken up, but like he just wouldn't tell anyone that we were kind of a thing again. And he talked to me like I was a girlfriend. He told me I was beautiful all the time, and he even said I love you a few times. And then tried to take it back, but he tried to take back I love you! I was on the phone with him. And he was just talking and talking, going on because he was a little bit drunk, and he's just telling me how amazing I am. And then finally he was like, I'm in love with you. And then he was like, and no, wait, and then I was like, nah, me too. Like, I meant it. And he goes, wait, can I take that back? I'm not ready for that. He wasn't ready for I love you. And so we're like a thing, dating, I don't know. My friend at the school at the time ends up going on my phone and adding him on her Snapchat, but because I said that was okay because I thought maybe she just wants to get to know him to know that I'm with a good guy. But I was very wrong. They ended up sending nude photos of each other to each other, and I found out because I was on my friend's phone, just like on her Snapchat, because we do that all the time. We just go on each other's Snapchats and be like, haha, hacked on the story and everything. And then I see a message from him, and then it looks really sketchy, and I don't remember what it was, but it was something kind of sweet, and so I confronted her, and then she kind of like spilt it, and I was like,
spill the tea, sis.
I was just like, are you kidding me? And I was so mad, but I wasn't done with him. Ugh. It was getting around close to when I had to book a flight to go to my best friend's graduation. And I was determined to get there, but the thing is, I didn't have any money. And no, I did not ask him for money at all, ever. Like, I don't like asking for money or even anything, really. And so I was just telling him how I was like getting like too close to the deadline, I guess. And he offers to pay for my flight there and back, because if I went there, then I could see him and my best friend, right? And I told him straight out, like, if you want to do this so that I'll do something with you, like, it's not gonna happen. Like, I'm not gonna give you anything. Like, if you're doing this, it's simply because you want to gift me this or something. Like, and he was like, yeah, no, of course not. I would never do that. So anywho, time comes around when I have to go there. So I book the flight, I get on the plane, and I go to BC. And he picks me up at the airport. We have this really romantic moment where he like picks me up and we kiss, and it's like, it's you, I miss you so much. And then he drives me to my best friend's house. We see each other, we're so happy to see each other. And we're just really excited because we hadn't seen each other in a year. Now it's been longer than that since I've seen her, and it's sad because I miss her. And so we're really excited, and then we say goodbye to him, and then I think I hung out with him like once. I don't even remember if I did or not. And then prom came around for Caitlin's friend. Like, I was gonna not say her name, but like, yeah. And so we wear our dresses all through her graduation. She wears her gown over her prom dress, which is what all the girls did because prom was like almost right after grad. Well, a few hours after, I guess. And they were getting pictures before the ceremony at like this really pretty scenery place. So time comes around for actual prom. Me and her take off our dresses and go in just jeans and t-shirts, basically. Because we were so done with wearing dresses because we are country girls and dresses are just a hassle, I guess. And so we go to the prom. It's her prom night, and I want to say what I'm about to do. I am so in the wrong with what I did. I'm not fully blaming Trevor on this. I'm blaming myself because I should not have done this. But I was texting him during her prom, and then he was like, well, every girl should have a dance during her prom, as in he should drive down and dance with me. And I was like, well, it's Caitlin's prom. But I was so flattered because I was like, oh, it's like a Prince Charming story. And so I tell Caitlin about it, and then she's like, well, I can just tell him to go, it's my prom, right? And I was like, oh, no, it's fine. No, it's not fine. I was her one guest to her prom. Like, that is so... So he comes down, takes me from her prom, and I had told her that we were just gonna go straight home. So we go through McDonald's first, because I was really hungry. It was like 12 p.m. at night. I get chicken nuggets and french fries, and it's pretty good, but then he stops and he parks in the parking lot of McDonald's at 12 p.m. at night. And then he starts wanting to make out, and he's trying to touch me where I don't want, and he's being very handsy, and I'm kind of just like, no, like, don't do that, that's a no. Like, I'm just like, kind of like, I wanted to kiss him, right? So I'm trying to kiss him, but then I'm just like, no, don't, like. And then finally, he's just like, we have this argument. I should be giving him more, and like, basically, like, all this stuff. Like, he just basically wanted more, and I was just like, I was so fed up, and I was just like, are you curious, like, like, honestly, because I was just like, I literally asked him, like, do you want anything from this? Because if you do, I'm not giving it to you, and I'm not taking your flight, basically. And so he's doing that, and so on the whole way home, we're very silent. And then about halfway home, I finally ask him, are you okay? Because I care about him and I love him. And so he just kind of looks ahead and he keeps just looking forward and he's like this, and I'm just like, and then he finally just says, I just expected more from you. What? You expected? Like, no, like I said to you, I'm not giving you anything. Like, if he wanted something, why did he pay for my ticket? Like, I guess he thought maybe he could, like, somehow convince me to or make me feel loved and treasured enough that I should give this to him, and that I was so done. Right then, it was like a freaking lever switched in my head, and it was like, what are you doing with this guy? Like, in my head, I'm like, I should still be at my best friend's prom, which I didn't know this because when we were in the parking lot, she had left prom to go home, which is where I should be before she gets home. And so I'm just like, this is so messed up in my head. And then finally I get home, best friend is mad. The camera's shaking. Sorry about that, ignore the background. It doesn't matter. Okay, where was I? Okay, so got home, my best friend is super mad. She won't even talk to me. Like, it was really bad the next few days because she was really upset and she had a right to be. I don't expect, I don't have corona. And so like I don't expect her to forgive me because it was a really crappy thing of me to do. I didn't even deserve to be your best friend at the time. Like, it was a really bad thing for me to do. But then the next day I messaged him and I'm like, hey, I'm not taking your flight home. I'm not using your money anymore. I'm done with this, basically. Like, I messed up with my best friend because of you, which I hate. Like, I don't like when boys tear best friends apart or like taint the friendship. Like, I hate that. Like, they're not worth it. And I did that and it was really crappy. And so I just said that to him. I'm like, I'm not doing this with you anymore. This is basically over. And I said, I'm not taking your flight home. And then he was basically saying that no matter what, he's not gonna unbook the flight because he made it for me and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm legit. I did not take his flight. Hi, my battery died, so fun. So anywho, I ended up calling my dad and he ends up telling me, as I'm about to tell him I kind of need a flight home, that my mother is in the hospital with meningitis. She had been in the hospital with meningitis since the day I left, from the day I got home. Like, the day I got home, she went home too. But she almost died. Dad said, like, she legit was almost dead. Everyone was crying. We thought we were going to lose my mother. And I was in another province and I wanted to go, like, home, but I was like, I had like full confidence that God was gonna work it out, you know? So like, finally I go home and that's the end of it. So now as I'm in contact with Trevor, he has told me he's not a werewolf. So no one sent him any backlash or anything. I'm a completely different person from what I was then, and he is too. I still have habits from back then, so he might too. So I'm not gonna trust him again. I'm not really gonna forgive him because it's a lot. But I am on okay terms with him. So I hope you guys like this video. If you want more like this, I have plenty more stories to tell. So comment down below, like and subscribe. All my social media will be down below. And me and Keisha have our very own channel, which I forget to mention a lot, but we do, so that'll be down below. And I will see y'all in the next video.